Hello and welcome to the next Maya modeling basics video. This is another bonus for adding some scripting to make that code to duplicate that group a little bit more with a little bit more control for us. And in this case, by default you have a Mel and a Python tab. I have stuff on both I want to keep, so I'm just going to click on this little button right up here and add Python. So what we want to do is we want this to be not name dependent. So even if the name changes, it's still going to duplicate the proper thing. So with Python, we always want to start off with import maya.cmds as, and most people use CMDS. Some people use MC for Maya commands. You know what? I'm just going to use MC in this case. And this just lets us grab some of Maya's commands to mix in with Python scripting. So from here, we want to first take whatever we have selected and put that into a variable. So I'm going to call this like original group. And what I want to do is I want it to grab what we have selected. So that code is using CMDS. So this is, in this case, MC dot ls, and I believe that stands for list. I'm just going to double check here. It just says ls. Okay. But I do believe it's list. So we are wanting to list whatever we have selected. So it's selection, whatever we have selected, we want it to only grab this. Otherwise, it's going to grab everything, and we don't want that in the scene. We just want whatever's going to be selected. So we need to make sure that we click on this group node before it does that. So if I print this original group, and if I click on this little play button right here, we could see original group, like here's the code, and then duplicate parts with these single quotation marks, and that is a string, which is this. So if you don't know what strings are, that's fine. You don't need to understand that for this. So from here, we store that into this group, and now we want to give the duplicate group a name. So I'm going to call it, this is the mirror group, and my command, we want to duplicate the original group. So this is going to take whatever is the name of the original group, we're going to duplicate it, and then we want to scale it in the x-axis, because that's for this case. So I want to set the attribute of, in this case, we want to set the attribute of the mirror group scale x, and we want to change that to -1. But this attribute is supposed to be a string, but mirror group is not a string, it's a variable. So a way to have variables added in is if we add f at the beginning and then put curly brackets around here, and it is more efficient. But in the end, whatever we have selected, I can select all this, make this into a group. So mirror group, I'm going to hit OK. And so if I select this, I click on this little button, it didn't do it because here if I print out what mirror group is, I'm going to delete this and run that. We can see that it's duplicate parts 1, which is awesome, but it's also upper floor, arches, pipe 1, 2. So it ends up adding in everything within this group. So we just need the first part. And so this is where square brackets with a little 0, just to say, hey, only grab the very first of that list. And so what we can do is we can go to edit here, and we can actually just square, 0, square. add the square brackets in right there. And I just want to make sure that it's in there. Cool. So now, if I click on this, click this little button, we can see it mirrors it up all right. And even if I change this word and I still click on the button, it is still looking at duplicate parts 1. Why are you still looking at that? That should have been renamed. Oh, it's probably adding to the group. So let's add in mirror group equals none, just so it clears up. So now if I click on that, click this little button right here, it still gives me an error. Sweet. Oh, and was that the error? Yeah, that was the error from before also. Edit. So original. Oh, because for some reason that's all it was. A little typo error. I was wondering why I was doing something weird. It happens. And so if I click on that, boom. And so if I end up calling this something completely different, duplicate me, and if I click on this little mirror, and it works fine. So now I have a button that will now do that. And I'll provide the code for this button. It'll be all built in with a shelf. So that is doing some simple scripting in order to make our lives a little bit easier instead of doing those multiple stepped processes. And that's where that L was missing. It's right there. So yeah, and I'll see you in the next video.